Sab Omnis, and this is the long-awaited sequel to Level 2, so let's go! Crop crinkles. Crop circles, sometimes referred to as crop crinkles, are geometric patterns or formations that appear in fields of crops, typically wheat or corn. These formations, which can range from simple circles to intricate designs, have been a subject of fascination, debate, and controversy for decades. While some believe they are evidence of extraterrestrial activity or paranormal phenomena, others attribute them to human hoaxes or natural causes. History and origins. The phenomenon of crop circles first gained widespread attention in the 1970s in UK, though reports of strange formations in crops date back centuries. The designs can range from small circles to large, complex patterns with geometric shapes, spirals, or even fractal-like arrangements. Theories behind crop crinkles. Extraterrestrial or paranormal explanations. Alien activity. One of the most popular theories suggests that crop circles are created by extraterrestrials or UFOs. Some people believe that the patterns are a form of communication or markers from beings from other worlds, Earth energies. Another theory links crop circles to natural or mystical forces of the Earth, suggesting they are created by energy fields or spiritual entities interacting with the crops. Human hoaxes. 1. Pranks or art. It is widely accepted that many crop circles are human-made, with some being elaborate hoaxes created by individuals or groups using simple tools like ropes, planks, and compasses. In the 1990s, two British men, Doug Barr and Dave Corley, famously admitted to creating many of the crop circles in the UK as a form of prank, using boards and wires to flatten the crops. Artist collaborations. Some crop circles are made intentionally as works of art, with artists creating intricate designs that are meant to be seen from above, often using drones or helicopters to view and photograph the finished patterns. Natural causes. Wind and weather. Some researchers believe that certain crop circles could be created by natural weather patterns, such as wind or whirlwinds. In some cases, it's suggested that severe weather conditions, like tornadoes, could leave patterns in fields that resemble crop circles, though these would likely be less geometric and more random. Electromagnetic forces. Another natural explanation suggests that electromagnetic phenomena, such as lightning or atmospheric disturbances, could cause the crops to bend in circular or spiral patterns. However, there is little scientific evidence to fully support this claim. Physical and visual characteristics. Flattening of crops. The crops in a crop circle are typically bent, rather than broken, which creates the distinctive flattened appearance. This bending is often in a way that appears unnatural, with some reports claiming that the plants are not only bent but also twisted or exhibiting unusual characteristics, such as elongated nodes or radiation-like damage. Patterns. Crop circles can range from simple circles to highly complex and intricate designs. Some are geometric and symmetrical, while others include fractals or mathematical principles, such as the Fibonacci sequence, leading to speculations about the intentionality behind the designs. Size. While many crop circles are small and can be made in a single night, some of the largest crop circles span hundreds of feet, with designs that require careful planning and execution. Notable examples: the Chilbolton Formation 2001. One of the most famous crop circles, this formation in the UK resembled a face and a symbolic representation of the famous Arecibo message, a radio message sent into space in 1974 to contact extraterrestrial life. The message included a figure of a human being, and the crop circle appeared to mimic this with a face and similar symbols. The Wiltshire crop circles, Wiltshire, England, is one of the most well-known areas for crop circle sightings. The region has seen numerous formations, including some with geometric complexity that leads to debates about their origins. The 1996 Crabwood Formation. This crop circle showed an image of an alien holding a disc, which some interpreted as an alien message for humanity. The inclusion of binary code in the design further fueled conspiracy theories and speculations about extraterrestrial communication. Skeptical perspectives, human hoaxes, and pranks. The admission by Doug Barr and Dave Corley in 1991 that they created many crop circles as a hoax led many to believe that most crop circles are human-made. The two men used simple tools and created elaborate designs over several years. Media and commercialization. The media has often sensationalized crop circle phenomena, especially in the 1980s and 1990s, and some critics argue that this has inflated the mystery surrounding them. Some groups or individuals may create crop circles to generate public attention and media coverage, or to sell products related to the phenomenon. No conclusive evidence. Despite claims of paranormal activity, there is no scientific evidence to support the idea that crop circles are created by extraterrestrials, spiritual forces, or any natural phenomena outside of human activity. Cultural impact. Pop culture. Crop circles have inspired numerous books, films, and television shows. They are often used as a symbol of mystery or alien contact in science fiction and conspiracy media. Spiritual and mystical communities. Some people, particularly in New Age and spiritual circles, believe that crop circles carry deep, symbolic meanings related to cosmic energies, the environment, or human evolution tourism. In places like Wiltshire, crop circles have become a tourist attraction, with people traveling to see the formations and visit related events, often leading to economic activity in those areas. Crop circles are one of the most intriguing and persistent phenomena, with a wide range of explanations ranging from the natural to the paranormal. While the majority of crop circles are likely the result of human activity, they continue to inspire wonder and speculation, with many people still believing in their mystical or extraterrestrial origins. Whether considered art hoaxes or something more, crop circles have left a lasting mark on popular culture and conspiracy theory circles. Freemasons. The Freemasons are one of the world's oldest and most well-known fraternal organizations. They trace their origins back to medieval stonemasons guilds in Europe, but their modern form emerged in the late 16th to early 17th centuries. Freemasonry is a brotherhood with a rich history of rituals, symbols, and secretive practices, which has contributed to the fascination and often controversial discussions about their influence in society. Origins and history. Medieval stonemasons. The roots of Freemasonry can be traced to the guilds of stonemasons and cathedral builders in medieval Europe, especially during the Gothic period. These skilled laborers were responsible for building the great cathedrals and castles of Europe. Over time, the guilds began to admit non-stonemasons as members, and the focus shifted from operative masonry stonework to speculative masonry symbolic teachings, ethics, and personal development. Formation of Grand Lodges. In 1717, 4 London lodges came together to form the Grand Lodge of England, marking the beginning of modern Freemasonry. This move turned the guild into a more organized fraternal society with a set of rules and a system of degree stages of membership. Other countries soon followed suit, and Freemasonry spread across Europe and beyond. Global spread. Freemasonry gained widespread popularity, particularly in the United States, where it played a significant role in the country's history, with many founding fathers being Freemasons. The organization has since grown to include millions of members worldwide, with lodges in nearly every country. Core beliefs and practices, brotherhood and moral teachings. At its core, Freemasonry is a fraternal organization that emphasizes brotherhood, charity, and its members' moral and ethical development. Masons are encouraged to live by honesty, integrity, and respect for others. Degrees and levels of membership. Freemasonry is structured in a hierarchical system of degrees. The most common system is the Blue Lodge, consisting of 3 degrees: entered apprentice initiate, fellowcraft a more advanced degree, Master Mason full member. After attaining the Master Mason degree, members can pursue additional degrees in different Masonic rites, such as the Scottish Rite or York Rite, which offer further teachings and rituals. The Worshipful Master. Each Masonic lodge is led by a Worshipful Master, who is elected by the members and holds office for a set period. The master oversees the rituals and ensures that the lodge operates according to Masonic rules and traditions. Philosophical and ethical framework. Deism. Freemasonry is not a religion, but is often seen as a philosophical system with a belief in a higher power, referred to as the Great Architect of the Universe (GAOTU). This term reflects a deistic belief, which suggests that a creator exists but does not intervene in human affairs. Members are encouraged to maintain their own religious beliefs, but must agree to believe in a higher power. Charity and community service. One of the cornerstones of Freemasonry is charity. Freemasons are encouraged to engage in charitable activities and contribute to the welfare of others. Many Masonic organizations run hospitals, schools, and scholarship programs. Secrecy and controversy. Secrecy. Freemasonry has long been associated with secrecy, particularly regarding its rituals and symbols. This has contributed to numerous conspiracy theories about the group's activities and influence. In many lodges, the modes of recognition, such as handshakes, passwords, and signs, are kept secret to maintain the privacy of its members. However, Freemasons argue that the secrecy is not intended for malicious purposes, but to preserve the integrity of their rituals and the sense of camaraderie among members. Conspiracy theories. Due to its secrecy and influence in various historical events, Freemasonry has often been the subject of conspiracy theories. Some of the most persistent claims include New World Order and WO. Freemasons are often associated with the theory of a global elite conspiring to control world events, with some believing they play a key role in the establishment of a one-world government, control of politics and finance. Conspiracy theorists often claim that Freemasons have significant control over political and financial systems, with some suggesting that members of the organization are embedded within governments and corporations, working behind the scenes to exert influence. Religious opposition. Several religious groups, including the Catholic Church, have historically opposed Freemasonry, believing that its teachings conflict with religious doctrine. The Vatican has issued several papal bulls condemning Freemasonry, particularly due to its secretive nature and deistic beliefs, which conflict with Orthodox Christian views on God and salvation. Famous Freemasons. Many influential historical figures were Freemasons, and the organization has been associated with various movements and revolutions throughout history. Some notable Freemasons include George Washington, the first president of the United States, was a prominent Freemason. Benjamin Franklin, a founding father and inventor, Franklin was deeply involved in Freemasonry. Winston Churchill, the British Prime Minister during World War II, was also a Freemason, minus Voltaire. The French Enlightenment philosopher was a member of the organization. Modern Freemasonry. Membership. Freemasonry today is largely a social and charitable organization, with millions of members worldwide. While membership has declined in many Western countries, the organization still maintains a strong presence, especially in places like the United States and parts of Europe. Women and Freemasonry. While historically Freemasonry was an all-male organization, there are now co-ed lodges and female-only lodges in many parts of the world. In some countries, Freemasonry has become more inclusive, allowing women to join the organization in varying capacities. Contemporary criticism. Despite its charitable efforts, Freemasonry continues to face criticism and skepticism, particularly regarding its influence in politics, business, and religion. The secretive nature of the organization, combined with its long history, keeps it a subject of both reverence and suspicion. Conclusion. Freemasonry is a complex and multifaceted organization with a rich history that blends philosophy, moral teachings, secretive rituals, and charitable efforts. While often associated with conspiracy theories, it remains primarily a fraternal order aimed at the moral and spiritual improvement of its members. Though its influence may have diminished in some regions, Freemasonry continues to play an important role in communities worldwide, with its rituals and traditions still deeply ingrained in its practices. Cell phones cause cancer. It sounds like a scarecrow from the teachers at the elementary school I attended. The claim that cell phones cause cancer has been the subject of significant scientific debate and research over the past few decades. This theory is based on concerns over radiofrequency RF radiation emitted by cell phones and whether prolonged exposure to this type of radiation can increase the risk of developing cancer. Below is a detailed breakdown of the topic, including scientific findings and perspectives. Understanding radiofrequency radiation. Radiofrequency RF radiation. Cell phones emit non-ionizing radiation, which is a type of electromagnetic radiation. This type of radiation is not strong enough to remove electrons from atoms or molecules, unlike ionizing radiation, such as X-rays or gamma rays, which can cause DNA damage and potentially lead to cancer. RF radiation is primarily used for communication signals, and cell phones transmit these signals via electromagnetic waves. Non-ionizing versus ionizing radiation. The key distinction between non-ionizing and ionizing radiation is that non-ionizing radiation like RF lacks sufficient energy to directly damage DNA or cells, while ionizing radiation like X-rays can potentially lead to cancer. Scientific studies and research. There have been numerous studies on the potential link between cell phone use and cancer, and the results are mixed, with no definitive answer yet. The Interphone Study 2010. This was one of the largest and most widely known studies conducted by the International Agency for Research on Cancer, IARC, which looked at the potential links between cell phone use and various types of cancer, particularly brain tumors, glioma, and meningioma. The study found no consistent or conclusive evidence of a link between cell phone use and brain cancer. The National Toxicology Program NTP Study 2018. This study by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services raised some concerns. It found that high levels of RF radiation, much higher than what a typical person would be exposed to from normal cell phone use, caused increased rates of hard schwannomas, a type of tumor, in male rats. The study did not find significant evidence of brain tumors in these animals, but some have interpreted this as suggesting that long-term, high-level exposure could potentially be harmful. The WHO IARC Classification 2011. The World Health Organization, who, through its International Agency for Research on Cancer, IARC, classified radiofrequency electromagnetic fields RFEMF as a possible carcinogen group to be based on an increased risk for glioma, a type of brain cancer, and acoustic neuroma, a type of tumor. However, this classification is based on limited evidence, meaning that while our FEMF could be a potential carcinogen, more research is needed to establish a direct causal relationship. Meta-analyses and reviews. Over the years, several meta-analyses have been conducted to examine multiple studies together to discern trends. The general conclusion from most of these reviews is that there is no strong or consistent evidence to support a significant risk of cancer from cell phone use. However, a few studies suggest there could be a slight increase in risk for specific types of brain tumors, but the data remains inconclusive. Challenges in assessing the link between cell phones and cancer. Several challenges make it difficult to definitively prove or disprove the connection between cell phone use and cancer. Long-term effects. Cancer often develops over many years or even decades, and cell phones have only been in widespread use since the 1990s. This makes it difficult to study long-term effects, as the period of exposure to cell phone radiation may not be long enough to observe significant trends in cancer rates. Exposure levels. The amount of RF radiation a person is exposed to from a cell phone is generally low. The levels are also regulated by government agencies, such as the Federal Communications Commission (FCC) in the United States, which sets limits on RF radiation from cell phones to ensure they remain below known harmful levels. The challenge is that cumulative exposure over many years of use, as more people use cell phones for longer periods, could increase risk, but this has not been proven in studies. Variability in studies. Many studies rely on self-reported data, which can introduce bias, especially when participants with cancer are more likely to recall and report their cell phone usage. Additionally, there are differences in methodology, such as how RF exposure is measured, the types of cancer studied, and the way the data is analyzed. Confounding factors. Other factors could contribute to the development of cancer, such as genetic predisposition, environmental factors, for example, radiation from other sources, and lifestyle choices, for example, smoking or diet. These variables are difficult to account for in many studies. Public health recommendations. Given the current evidence, health organizations have generally recommended caution, especially for heavy users of cell phones. Some precautionary measures include using speakerphone or Bluetooth. Using hands-free options like speakerphone or Bluetooth headsets can reduce the proximity of the phone to the brain. For example, I've been doing this since about 2019, limiting call time. Reducing the amount of time spent on the phone and avoiding long, unnecessary calls may lower exposure. Texting. Using text messaging instead of holding the phone up to the ear is a safer alternative. Be especially careful when you are answering someone on the street. It is better to be safe and feel calm than to suffer physical and psychological injuries. Avoiding use in low-signal areas. When the signal is weak, phones emit more radiation in an attempt to connect to the network. Avoiding cell phone use in low-signal areas may reduce exposure. I understand that this may not happen to everyone due to certain circumstances. Conclusion. At present, the scientific consensus is that there is no conclusive evidence to support the claim that cell phones directly cause cancer. While some studies suggest a possible association with certain types of brain tumors, the evidence remains inconclusive, and many health authorities argue that the risk is likely very low, especially considering the levels of radiation emitted by modern cell phones. However, due to the uncertainties and the long-term nature of cancer development, some experts recommend taking precautionary measures to minimize exposure. Further research is needed to better understand the potential risks, especially with the growing use of mobile phones and other wireless devices. The flood. The flood is a term commonly associated with various myths, religious stories, and conspiracy theories involving a great deluge that covers the earth, often as a form of divine retribution. It appears in many cultures and religions, most notably in the story of Noah's Ark in the Bible and similar tales in other ancient traditions. The flood has been the subject of much debate, interpretation, and speculation. Biblical account. Noah's flood. Genesis story. The most well-known version of the flood comes from the book of Genesis in the Bible. According to this story, God decided to flood the earth to cleanse it of wickedness, sparing only Noah, his family, and two of every animal species. Noah was instructed to build an ark to survive the deluge. The Great Flood. The floodwaters are said to have covered the earth for 40 days and 40 nights, wiping out all life except those aboard the ark. Ark and animals. Noah's Ark is said to have housed Noah's family and pairs of animals to repopulate the earth once the waters receded. This narrative is central to Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, where the flood serves as both a symbol of judgment and redemption. Flood myths in other cultures. Mesopotamian flood. The Epic of Gilgamesh, a famous Sumerian poem, also contains a flood story that predates the biblical account. In this myth, the gods decide to destroy humanity with a flood. A hero named Utnapishtim is warned by the god Ea and builds a boat to save himself, his family, and a collection of animals. This story shares several similarities with the biblical flood narrative. Greek mythology. In Greek mythology, the flood is attributed to Zeus, who, in anger over the wickedness of humans, sends a great flood to destroy them. Deucalion, the son of Prometheus, survives the flood with his wife Pyrrha, and they repopulate the earth by throwing stones over their shoulders, which turn into people. Hindu mythology. The Mahabharata and Bhagavata Purana contain a story of a flood that submerged the world. In this version, the god Vishnu takes the form of a fish to save the sacred scriptures, Vedas, and a group of sages, ensuring the continuation of life after the floodwaters recede. Native American traditions. Many Native American tribes have flood stories, such as the Zuni and Cherokee tribes, which speak of great floods sent by the gods to cleanse the earth, followed by survivors who repopulate the world. Scientific perspective on a global flood. No evidence of a global flood. While flood myths are widespread, scientific evidence does not support the idea of a global flood that covered the entire Earth. Geological studies do not show evidence of a worldwide flood around the time the biblical flood is said to have occurred. Instead, local floods, tsunamis, or catastrophic regional events may have contributed to the myths of a global deluge. Local floods and tsunamis. There have been significant regional floods throughout history that could have influenced these myths. For example, the flooding of the Black Sea or the inundation of ancient Mesopotamia and the Tigris-Euphrates River Valley could have sparked such legends. The medieval warm period and sudden climate changes may have also led to significant flooding events in various ancient civilizations, reinforcing the idea of a cataclysmic flood. Conspiracy theories. The Great Flood as a historical event. Some conspiracy theorists suggest that the Great Flood was a real historical event, possibly caused by an extraterrestrial intervention, global warming, or other apocalyptic scenarios. These theories often lack scientific backing and typically rely on speculative interpretations of ancient texts, artifacts, and geological anomalies. The Flood and ancient civilizations. Some believe the story of the flood is tied to the disappearance of advanced ancient civilizations, such as Atlantis or other lost societies. The idea is that these civilizations were wiped out by a global catastrophe and that the flood represents the destruction of their advanced technology and culture. Proponents of this theory point to the fact that many ancient civilizations seem to have disappeared suddenly, although these disappearances are generally attributed to factors like invasions, natural disasters, or societal collapse, not a flood. The Flood and Earth's Age. Some creationist conspiracy theories argue that the flood described in the Bible was a global event that occurred relatively recently within the last 10,000 years, and they may dismiss mainstream geological evidence of Earth's age. These ideas are not supported by the broader scientific community, which dates the Earth at approximately 4.5 billion years old and the earliest human civilizations at around 10,000 years ago. Symbolism and interpretation, judgment and redemption. In many traditions, the flood serves as a symbol of divine judgment and redemption. The cleansing of the world from wickedness and sin through the flood, followed by the survival of the righteous Noah, Ethnopishtim, etc., emphasizes the idea of purification and new beginnings. End of an age. Some interpretations view the flood as representing the end of an era of corruption or sin, followed by a new, purer world. In this way, the flood myth often conveys moral lessons about human behavior, divine authority, and the consequences of moral decay. Survival and rebirth. The stories often emphasize the importance of survival and the idea that humanity can endure despite great trials. After the flood, humanity is tasked with rebuilding and starting anew, representing hope, resilience, and the possibility of renewal. The flood narrative is one of the most enduring myths in human history, found across different cultures and religions. It has been interpreted in various ways, from a literal historical event to a symbolic story about the moral and spiritual lessons of life, human behavior, and divine power. While scientific evidence does not support the idea of a global flood, these stories continue to hold cultural, religious, and moral significance. Whether as a divine judgment or a symbol of purification, the flood myth remains a powerful and deeply meaningful part of human storytelling. So this video is going to the end. Don't forget about like, subscribe, and see you in next video. Bye!